City Council meeting is called to order. Everyone please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Everyone, please remain standing. We're going to ask Father Clifton to come and give us a prayer, please.
Good evening, everyone. Surprise, just one short one today. Let us pray. Most gracious God of justice and mercy, we give thanks to you for the gift of life and for the opportunity to come together in community as a people concerned with the welfare of this, our beloved city of Inkster. We ask your guidance and blessings upon Byron, our mayor, Clarence, Sandra, Connie, Stephen, Timothy, and Kim, the people who have been called to lead this community in which we live and work and play and rest. We ask those same gifts of strength and direction for those who are called to work in various capacities within our city's governmental structure, and for those called to serve in the areas of justice and law enforcement, public safety, and health services, that they may perform their duties with a sense of joyful commitment and with love for all your people. Help them to act with character and conviction. Help them to listen with understanding and goodwill, and help them to speak with clarity and restraint. Give them a spirit of Christly service, reminding them that as city leaders, they are also servants of the people and stewards of your authority, charged with the responsibility of serving the common good. Guide them to be the effective leaders and servants your people in Inkster need. In this role, help them to see the humanity and dignity of every part of the citizenry, even during times of disagreement. Direct them to treat all persons with the reverence your creation deserves. And finally, Father, renew every citizen in Inkster with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in the goodness of your love. Let us all say, Amen.
Amen. She wants to be added. She wasn't here last week. Oh, I just prayed for you. You got it. Roll call.
Mayor Nolan.
Present.
Councilwoman Wiley.
Present.
Councilman Oden.
Present.
Councilwoman Mitchell.
Present.
Councilwoman Howard.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams.
Present.
And Councilman Chisholm.
Present.
And we have 7 present today, and we do have a quorum.
Okay. Everyone had a chance to look at the agenda. I think we need to add one more presentation that didn't go last meeting by Zakiya Gibson. So we need to add that under the presentations.
So she will be,
She will be, oh, we should replace her with E?
she'll be,
We can put it right there.
okay.
She'll be item E under presentations. Any other changes, omissions, deletions? Corrections? Okay, do we have a motion?
You have to delete, item.
Motion to accept the agenda.
Support.
Did you, the changes we made at orientation, did we state those?
No, we need to delete item E.
We deleted item E
And replaced it, right?
and replaced it with a resolution for the sanitation.
Okay, restate my motion. We move to accept the agenda with the current changes of leading item E.
Support.
And then the team cares presentation was eliminated and replaced by Ms. Gibson.
Oh.
Got it. So she's gonna be out there, C now.
Yeah, she'll be C. We good? Good. Okay, we have support?
Support.
Properly moved and supported. Discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Wayne County Commissioner. Come on up, Mr. Anderson. How you doing?
Good evening.
Good evening.
I just wanted to stop in and say hello and see if there were any questions for me. There's not a great deal going on with Wayne County, with the exception of the budget. It's been consuming a lot of time, the 17-18 budget, and I hope to have some good news down the road. And wanted to congratulate one of our centennials. And it was very nice to be able to see her yesterday and to congratulate her on her 100th birthday. And I don't know if I didn't get a chance to see if Mrs. Shelby is here, but she's not. But just it was really a nice get together. I couldn't believe how many people were there when I got there, and I got there fairly early. But anyway. Must be something in the water in Inkster to get so many people that reach over 100 years old, and it's really a nice thing. But anyway, I don't know if you have any questions right now. If you do, certainly you know how to reach me all the time, and look forward to continuing representing you. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We'll move on to presentations. The Beyond Basic is going to be a short video. Troy. Guess I keep my kilt back and not be on camera.
You didn't do one of them cupcakes? We can turn them up.
Shoot for one of Mike's things.
Our students come from various geographical boundary areas. Circle is a building that's 100 years old. It's a generational building because many of the great-grandparents, the grandparents, the parents, and now the children attend Circle.
For kids, to no fault of their own, they are born into a situation that is, our worst day every day.
Our main focus is to motivate, regardless of the barriers that these kids bring to us. Beyond Basics is our major partnership at Circle. It's a literacy program, and what they do, they work with students that are performing below a grade level in reading and in writing, and in a period of 6 weeks they are able to bring those students up to grade level. We stress to our kids that we love them regardless of the love that they might not receive at home. When they come to Circle, they have 6.5 hours of pure love.
The kids in the Detroit schools, they don't get a lot of one-on-one attention, and I think it's the one-on-one attention that a lot of them really need in order to help them thrive. All right, so you said shand. I want you to look again, look carefully, and tell me what you see.
That is what you got, what got her mad.
So reading opens a whole new world for these kids. I see them getting excited about comprehending what they're reading and realizing that they can understand what's going on in these books.
One of the programs we run is Publishing Center, where we take their stories and publish them in hard-covered books where they are now the author. And they're an author. You can't convince them that they're not. This is probably the #1 disability in America right now, is literacy. And, you know, the fact that we can get people reading, children reading at all ages in just 6 weeks, it's life-changing for all of us.
Just do as I say. Just follow me down, and I'll show you the way.
As a tutor at Central High School, we know that we are their last chance, and society's counting on us to make these children succeed.
It's the second oldest high school in Michigan, the oldest in Detroit. It's over 160 years old. Without us getting education right at this high school, all the great revival of Detroit will, like any plant that's not watered, it will wither and it will die unless we're able to produce the next generation of engineers and lawyers and artists and scholars. This high school has to survive. By the end of that 4-year experience, they've had 3 options, statistically: community college, the military, or the street. If you don't get a high school diploma, 2 of those 3 options go away, and you're left with the street. And while I was in Iraq and Afghanistan, what I found was that those environments, those nations, have lost the ability to educate their people. And when you lose the ability to educate your people, people lose hope. And that's when I realized the greatest threat to our nation is not overseas anymore. It's the loss of our current generation of young people. And I felt like the only way to truly impact this is to dedicate my life to educating and leading and building character in young men and women in our nation's cities. The turnaround that I've seen you make, from behavior to your commitment to academics, that is absolutely why I have decided to change my whole life profession to come and work with guys like you.
Yeah, I came from a 1.6 to a 3.0.
You make me so proud. You're killing me, man. Stop making me choke up.
Before Beyond Basic, I was reading at actually a 5th grade level, and I didn't know big words. I wasn't reading on my grade level, and I always gave up on reading. But when Beyond Basic came along, it helped me. I learned how to break words down. I was reading on my grade level, actually reading above my grade level now. And Beyond Basic taught me how not to give up.
Once you've worked with students often for a week, 2 weeks, you begin to see a lot of improvements. Students are explaining reading concepts to you. Okay, Deontay, so if we had to review, let's just do the vowels. So if we just had to review the sounds, okay. Good? 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 Good, and perfect, okay.
They combined Greek force, one without the Spartans' help. All of the Greek commanders got together and agreed that the ratio plan.
There's no reason that it can't be done as long as great organizations like Beyond Basics and great schools can combine to do this work and do it right.
We offer much more than hope. We give children access to their lives in many new ways, totally transform it. I mean, we change the destiny of that child's life, and they tell us this over and over again in the stories that they write.
I want to be like a gym teacher or a health teacher because I love sports, and I would like to teach about health. If Beyond Basic got every student involved in it, I think every student would have an open path to success. Beyond Basic is great.
The relationship that tutor builds with that child really, I believe, enables them to learn and to grow. And you just need to get going because there's a lot of them that need our help.
Okay. All right, well, that's our first presentation. The next one is a mural reveal by Paul Carr. Mr. Carr here? I don't see him. Okay, we'll move on. If he comes, we'll let him go. Next, huh? They're gonna come in.
Talk to us or let us know what the program is at some point?
Yeah, oh yeah, absolutely. Okay, next presentation is going to be Ms. Zakiya Gibson.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Thank you so much, Mayor Byron Nolan and the City Council members of the City of Inkster. I was supposed to present last week, and I was unable to due to information that I received that I was unable to present at that time. I feel as though I owe the city and the residents of Inkster an explanation in regards to my organization, Pathways Global Leadership Academy, which is a charter school that was presented to open in the city of Inkster in September of 2017. We've worked really hard over the last year and a half to establish an educational program that would suit a city of needs such as Inkster. We implemented a ground efforts. We bonded with the community. We had great, significant support from council, women and men, residents, constituents of the city of Inkster to support our educational program. In addition to sororities and fraternities in the city of Inkster, an overwhelming, unwavering support for our organization and our program. Unfortunately, approximately 2 weeks ago, we were notified by Grand Valley State University that our charter would be revoked from the city of Inkster due to the lack of having a certificate of occupancy, even though there was a contingency plan in place for our building in which we could not occupy. The building did not have a certificate of occupancy to accommodate a school at the time. We worked very closely with members of the city to develop an alternative plan for our school, so at least we could open with one child, with 12 children, with 60 children. During that week, we probably started off with approximately 12 students who had full completed applications for the charter school. We had 60 students total who didn't complete all of their applications but were in line to have a seat for our school. On the first day of school, September the 5th, we received 35 applications in one day. Okay, we had parents coming up to the school. However, because our charter was pulled, we were unable to open. It's a sad occasion for the city of Inkster because we held, and I say we because I feel like we became a family through this year and a half. We held a piece of paper that empowered us to establish an educational institute within the city of Inkster that was controlled independently by me and a board. You don't see that very often. The city of Inkster would have had input in this school, would have had resources from this school that were shared amongst all of us. We could have built a foundation for this city that is very much needed, one that was owned by the people and developed, changed, progressed by the citizens of the city of Inkster. And I'm saddened to be in front of you today, 2 weeks ago when I was not present, to inform you of this change. It was a situation that was unpredictable and uncontrollable. I've worked on this project for about 4 years total. And when I identified Inkster as a place that needed quality education for the children to come home and be in a safe and secure environment, to have quality educational resources, teachers who cared, and quite frankly, someone who looked like them who owned a school. It was heartbreaking. It was very difficult to embrace it was very difficult to receive. The last presentation I gave, I probably shared a ton of tears because it was so heartbreaking. I'm passionate about what I do as an educator, and I would like to say that I commit to the city of Inkster from this point forward, even though it's not in the form of a charter school, to provide some sort of educational program that is needed within the city, in which everyone has input in. And I hope that you all are able to receive that and accept me as a part of the city, even though I'm not a resident here. I'm committed to the people here. I'm hoping that Craig and I can get together with the Booker T. Dozier Recreation Center and provide a quality educational after-school program for students of Inkster. In the meantime, I would like to give a heart-fulfilled thanks to Councilwoman Watley for assisting with our Green Thumb project, and Councilman Chisholm for assisting with that project as well. Councilman Oden, you have been very supportive in the progression of our school in the community. You were there from day one, and we appreciate your support. Councilwoman Mitchell, you have been there as a sisterly friend and as an advocate of your community and education with your outstanding leadership and reputation in education, which is so very well respected. We appreciate all of the support that you have given. Ms. Felicia Rutledge, thank you so much for just taking my calls when I needed you and being there and establishing what we needed for the community. Mayor Nolan, you have been there since day one. The city address, you announced us formally as a school coming into your community, and we so very much appreciate that support. You went out on a limb for us in announcing that arrival of the school. We won't disappoint you. We'll be here to make sure that we support you in any way available and presented as an educational expert and consultant. Councilman Williams, thank you so much for your overwhelming support as well throughout this process. You've been there, you've provided ideas and suggestions, and you always implemented and encourage people to support purchasing and supporting Inkster, which is important. There were a couple of events that occurred prior to us losing our charter as well, which I was very surprised of, but I wanted to present it to council. Number one, we purchased signs to place throughout our community, around the school, around the perimeter of the major cities in which the school was surrounded by. After 3 days, those signs were removed, okay? It was a suspicious act because there were other signs that were up during that time that weren't necessarily in competition with our signs, but our signs were removed. Don't know who, don't know why, but they were removed. It impacted our enrollment significantly. Additionally, after the planting of our flowers, in which we had community members, children, families, my family, my faculty and staff, at our school on a Saturday, well, no, it wasn't a Saturday, I believe it may have been a Wednesday or a Tuesday, planting flowers to beautify our building, in which we had adopted in the community between Henry Ruff and Middle Belt and Michigan Avenue. Those flowers were dug up and removed from the property, okay, which was surprising. I did not have the heart to call Councilwoman Watley and let her know after she got out there with her rain boots and her hat, and she gave lessons on, when flowers bloomed, the best seasons for certain colors. Her expertise is beyond imaginable. Neither did I want to call Stephen either to let them know that someone literally took a shovel and dug up our plants, okay? Additionally, our signage was removed from the school and thrown in the bushes. Minor to some, but major to me, because evidently we were competition to other schools that existed in the community. My competition was only education. This wasn't a business venture for me. This was an opportunity to provide a city that did not have its own school system with a school system that ranged from kindergarten through 12th grade, progressively. That was taken away, one, by the authorizer, which I believe was unacceptable, okay? And then two, by individuals in the community who felt that we were a threat, I believe. But still, we will rise, okay? And I'll be here to assist in any way necessary in regards to the city and any educational program that exists. So once again, I thank you so very much for your support, and you'll continue to see me.
Thank you. I see Mr. Peterson walking in. You have anything for us, sir? Okay.
Greetings from State Representative Joel Jones. Just a couple of things. First, I want to give you a heads up on some major legislation that the House will be dealing with for the rest of the year. One is the Municipal Employees Retirement System. That's something they plan to continue to address. They've been trying to resolve it over the last couple of years. Obviously, it has an impact on employees that work in our government, particularly policemen and firemen. One of the compromises the Republicans tried to push was to remove the health benefits. That's something we've really been fighting against. You know, it's underfunded, so we need support from, you know, the municipalities and the residents of the communities impacted by it to hopefully preserve those benefits for deserving employees. The second item is one that affects everybody, really. It's the auto insurance morass. Generally, there are like 3 proposals being presented that compete in many respects. Depending on where you sit, you may favor one over the other. Mayor Duggan in Detroit is trying to push a 30% across the board reduction in insurance costs. However, you know, there's no guarantee that that reduction would continue over time. So it might be a very limited benefit to the community and to auto, insured residents. The second one is different in the sense that it proposes a fee schedule. One of the things that really drives insurance costs are medical benefits that are provided to people impacted by auto accidents. And I won't go into detail. For those who are interested, I can provide some of the more detailed items. But essentially, it breaks it down into 3 categories depending on, you know, what type of insurance coverage you have. And the third one is a change that frankly we in the House are proposing from a Democratic perspective, and that is one that looks at driver behavior as a basis for insuring a driver, as opposed to the archaic formula they use now, which looks at zip codes and education and gender. It's really a way for insurance risk managers to drive insurance rates up. It's based on how many cars are stolen in a particular area, how many accidents occur in a particular area, which has nothing at all to do with individual driver attributes. And so we're looking at basically changing the formulation for how insurance is, the criteria for how insurance is decided in the first place, the rates are decided. So in terms of looking at what's happening from a state legislative standpoint, those are some important developments to kind of watch and in fact impact if you want to be a part of the debate. The other thing that the Democrats are trying to push is a cap on prescription costs and what we call a medical bill of rights, which essentially gives everybody fair treatment in terms of medical care. Another item that's really important, and it impacts seniors primarily, is PIP. personal injury fee that you have to pay on your insurance to cover medical costs. Seniors who are covered by Medicare really don't need to pay that premium, that additional premium, because frankly, Medicare will cover that cost. And if we can remove that fee, it would reduce their insurance probably about anywhere from 40% up, depending on whether they have basic coverage or comprehensive coverage. So, and we get a lot of inquiries from seniors who are concerned about having to pay that fee. I'll just close by saying we're planning 2 more town halls. We haven't decided where we're going to conduct them. One will be about senior rights. We've had inquiries and calls about elder abuse and treatment in nursing homes. As evidenced by the situation in Florida, we all need to be circumspect and watch our family members who may be in nursing homes and those who may not be watched as closely as others. We feel a responsibility to make sure that people are receiving the kind of treatment and benefits they deserve as they move into their senior years. And so we're going to have a town hall where we can hopefully elicit some input from residents on things we can do from a policy standpoint to make their lives, quality of life better for them. And the other thing finally is for veterans. We're going to try to pull together a town hall on veterans' rights, particularly survivors who may not know how to work the system. We have a lot of homeless vets. One of the things that Senator Kniesik has been pushing, for example, is a veterans home for homeless vets. So that's a community that we clearly need to pay more attention to. Thanks, and appreciate the opportunity.
All right, thank you.
If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to give us a call.
One thing, reference the insurance. Is there a call to action anywhere here? Should we be contacting people or?
What I'll do is share information with the clerk, with Felicia, to provide, a copy of legislation that's been presented. There are a number of bills out there. They usually present them as a package. So what you can do is you just kind of review those. If you have any comments, please forward them to us, and we'll make sure that they get presented to the House. We have a process for presenting public comments. The other way, you can go to a site, the Michigan.gov site, and go to the Michigan Legislature site, and you put in a keyword, auto insurance, and it'll bring up bills. The problem with that is the Senate has bills, we have bills, so it might be confusing. I think the value that we can provide is narrow the things that you have to look at so that you can have a very focused understanding of what's out there. But there are really those 3 different levels. The Duggan bill, which he's been pushing for a while, at first it was de-insurance, and now they're talking about this 30% cut. The other one is the insurance that would be based on a fee schedule for paying primarily the medical hospitals and other providers based on the schedule. The idea there is to lower the cost of services being provided to insureds as a way to drive rates down. And then the third one is one that we frankly think is really of the most value, which is to try to redefine how insurance is actually rated. Right now it's based on territory and all those other attributes I pointed out. So, but I can get the information to Clerk Rutledge, or I can send it to the council members individually as well. Okay? All right, thank you.
Sure.
Yes, you talked about education. Now, I do know that they're asking for report cards for kids that's starting to drive. That's something that you guys are looking into? Does that fall up under the education, or?
I'd have to look at that particular policy. I'm not familiar. Are you saying this is current legislation?
Yes.
No?
Well, a family member, before they got the driver's license, they had to submit report cards to the insurance company. So I
Oh,
was just-
that's new to me.
Yeah.
I hadn't heard that one before.
So when you said education, I thought, you know. was
Yeah,
that-
well,
did that fall under
what I
that?
meant by that is, when you apply for insurance, they ask you, for example, if you're a high school graduate or
Okay, okay.
a college graduate. I guess the assumption is the more educated you are, the safer driver you are.
Correct,
which is kinda-
correct,
which
okay.
is nonsensical.
But they are asking for a report card.
Is that right?
I'm not sure what insurance company, but yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised because they have used education as a basis. And that's really what we want to get to, Councilman Howard, is, let's come up with a set of criteria for how you rate insurance that makes sense. Frankly, as a personal standpoint, I consulted with AAA, some years ago. I actually worked on a redlining project, problem with their CFO, the CEO, and the people that rate the insurance. And what I discovered was that the rating system, the more items they can throw in it, the more they can manipulate the rate, basically. And what I tried to get them to do is something that, frankly, Progressive Insurance is doing right now. They have a gadget they put on your car, which can actually sense your driving habits, how fast you go, whether you drive recklessly. It can actually determine all those things. And then that's what we need to get to.
Right.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, next we have our last presentation, the Episcopal Church Rise Initiative by Crystal Linton.
Good evening. Good evening. Mayor and council, I appreciate this opportunity to come before you and the citizens of Inkster to talk about what I'm always talking about, children. The mayor called me Mother Hubbard. And it's funny because I would have never imagined in my life that I would work with children, but my work is seen through the eyes of justice and injustice. And so I'm here to talk about the Episcopal Church Rise Initiative, and the purpose of, this is going to report on, present to, and reintroduce to some, because we know that there were 51 organizations summoned to St. Clement's about 4 years ago to talk about this initiative. And it is alive and well. I had Councilwoman Mitchell ask, what happened? I came and heard about it. We are alive and well, Councilwoman. The purpose of the RISE, the school-to-prison pipeline is fueled by the zero-tolerance disciplinary policies adopted in schools across the United States, which criminalize children from an early age. RISE provides a positive environment to give young people an opportunity to learn more about themselves, recognize their gifts, and realize their God-given potential for success. And is there any human being that does not have God-given potential? What we see are people who have just not realized it, have not been helped along the way to accomplish it. So now I'm going to ask for something, and I'm going to try to sell this. And I know anytime you're asking for something or you're trying to sell something, first thing you got to do is create discomfort. So even though most of you have heard me get on my soapbox and talk about this, there might be somebody out there who hasn't. So let me create the discomfort. What is the school-to-prison pipeline? And you heard Beyond Basics, and that's a wonderful organization. I'm going to talk about them in a minute. But they talked about college, military, or the streets. But we recognize that our children are on their way to prison, not the streets, if they can't read and some other things that is sending them there. What is the school-to-prison pipeline? These are a couple quotes. If you look at state budgets, part of the reason that tuition has been rising in public universities across the country is because more and more resources were going into paying for prisons, and that left less money to provide to colleges and universities. That quote is by President Barack Obama in Time magazine. The school-to-prison pipeline is the most important civil rights challenge facing our nation today. That's a quote from American Civil Liberties Union. More African American men are in prison or jail on probation or parole than were enslaved in 1850, before the Civil War began. That's a quote from Michelle Alexander, author of The New Jim Crow, Mass Incarceration, the Age of Colorblindness. According to the American Civil Liberties Union, they report that the school-to-prison pipeline is fueled by the zero-tolerance disciplinary policies adopted in schools across the United States and pushes children out of the classroom and into the prison system. The zero-tolerance disciplinary policies are often the first step in a child's journey through the pipeline. Zero tolerance has become a one-size-fits-all solution to all problems that schools confront. It has redefined students as criminals with unfortunate consequences. Unfortunately, most current zero-tolerance policies eliminate the common sense that comes with discretion and at great cost to society and to the children and the families do little to improve school safety. Zero-tolerance disciplinary policies have recharacterized minor infractions in schools to justify the arrest of children, holding them prisoners without parental or legal representation. A child is charged with battery for pushing and shoving. A child is charged with theft or robbery for swiping any item. A child is charged with disorderly conduct for talking back. Schools today rely on law enforcement rather than teachers and administrators to handle minor school misconduct. Over 3 million students are suspended at least once each year, and over 100,000 are expelled. Disparities in school discipline move students of color toward prison. 4 out of 5 black youth in some inner city communities can expect to be incarcerated in their lifetime. African American students are nearly 3 times as likely to be suspended and 3.5 times as likely to be expelled as their white peers. Latino students are 1.5 times as likely to be suspended and twice as likely to be expelled as their white peers. In 2008, there were more than 846,000 black men in prison, making up 40.2% of all inmates in the system. In 2003, African American youth made up 16% of the nation's overall juvenile population, but accounted for 45% of juvenile arrests. While approximately 8.6 of public school children have been identified as having disabilities that impact their ability to learn, a recent survey of correctional facilities found that students with disabilities are represented in jail at a rate nearly 4 times that. Cost of education versus incarceration. The average annual per child cost of Head Start is $7,028. The annual per child cost of high quality after school programming is $2,700. The average annual per prisoner cost is $22,650. States spend on average almost 3 times as much per prisoner as per public school pupil. In response to the prison pipeline, now that we've heard what it is and how it's operating, the Episcopal Church passed Resolution B024 at its 2012 General Convention, calling on the church to build pipelines to the kingdom of God. and destroy the pipeline to prison. At that time, the Episcopal Church was the only organization to resolve that they would specifically design a program to fight the school to prison pipeline. The RISE initiative is the only operating initiative in the Episcopal Church at this time. We had completed our first 18-month cycle, and we're very proud of what we did. The programming of the RISE included public speaking and presentation skills, values to live by, conversations about the school day, development of social and coping skills, problem solving, conflict management, negotiation, anger management skills, storytelling and story writing, one-on-one conversations with mentors, and outings. And I'm going to stop here at outings and mention our biggest supporter, our main collaboration, and our 18-month period. And let me just say, the children that we got, they just happened to be the children that God gave us. They were an older group that the RISE was not necessarily designed for, but that's who God gave us. We started with about 40 children, and we had to pare that down to about 20 because we just didn't have the volunteers to handle that many kids at the church and so many challenged children as well. So we got through that, and most of you know, and most of you heard of the struggles that St. Clement's had, but I'm so proud of our church because we took on an initiative that most people could not have taken on. Father Clifton is here. He did our prayer. Father Clifton and St. Clement's took on the challenge of those children. And I'm happy to say that all of them are in school. They may have been out of school, but now they're back in school. We didn't expect that. None of them are in jail. We didn't expect that, where we expected them to be in jail. And none of them are dead. And we didn't expect that. And so we have had great success. We've had one young man who was on the streets in trouble with the law. And he turned full circle, living back with his family, back in school, captain of the football team, and looking forward to going to college. We have one young lady with us right here. We have one senior graduated last year. We have 2 graduating this year. We know of one that is on her way to college, Central State University. Okay? We're talking about everything I talked about is what's going on across the country. But it ain't gonna happen here, because I'm asking us to take control of this situation. We have to see our children being marched off to prison just like they were marched off to the slave ships. And we got to get woke. It's our responsibility. I don't care if anybody comes in here to save us with their dollars. We can save ourselves. We work in the RISE for nothing. We spend our own money, don't we, Father Clifton? Yes, we do. Okay. We find food, we find resources. And I'm going to stop there and talk about our biggest collaboration to date is with Carl Diabru and the RISE Initiative and the Inkster Collaborative. And I'll call your attention to this brochure. Carl provides specialized care, and you can see in there he has provided trips to Pistons games, and I'm talking about almost floor seats. I ain't talking about in the rafters. He provides kayaking. He provided the incentives that kept our children on the up and up, kept them in school, kept good behavior, and he is continuing to work with us. We are starting a new program cycle October 1st. We are centering on, again, behavior modification and also reading. We're the first organization to partner with Beyond Basics, and you saw their presentation. They usually work in the schools, but they are coming with us to tutor our children in reading. We know that if you can't read by the end of the 3rd grade, you're probably on your way to prison. And so we're focusing on reading in this new cycle. And here's what I'm asking. I am asking anyone who will stop by on Tuesdays at 5 o'clock and partner up with a child and help them learn to read. Volunteer with Beyond Basics and help us save our children. It doesn't have to happen here, y'all. I'm going to cut off, the mayor has given me the sign, okay. So I'm going to cut it off. I'm just going to ask right now, right here, is there anybody here that will help us? Anybody here that will help us? All right, all right. I see a couple. Thank you.
All right. Okay. Consent agenda.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Probably moved, supported, discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Boards and commissions. Any nominations? Any nominations, boards and commissions?
Question.
Okay, go ahead.
My question is, I think I probably asked this before. I see where got some people, Economic Development Corporation, time has expired, and they've been on this list for some time now. Is that body still viable?
Ms. Fields, I'm not aware of that body meeting at all.
The TIFA board is also the Economic Development Corporation, so they are looking at initiatives to address the Economic Development Corporation side of the entity. So the meetings are held simultaneously, but now they are focusing on EDC more than TIFA.
So they've combined to be one, handling two different positions.
Correct, and they have always been combined, but maybe their focus changed at various stages. But they've always been combined, because once you're appointed to TIFA, when you're sworn in, you're also appointed to the EDC.
So you have a full complement in order to transact business?
Yes, sir, we do, but...
I mean, on both sides?
Yes, but I believe that there may be a couple of vacancies.
That's what I'm getting at.
So we would like more members, and one of the TIFA members recently resigned, so we would like her seat to be filled as well.
Who would that person be?
Deborah Wieslow?
Oh, yeah.
Wieslow?
Right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any nominations for TIFA? Any nominations for any other board or commission?
I would like to nominate Jean Liddell for the Historical Commission. Her paperwork is on file with the city because she is also a part of the Commission on Aging.
Okay. We ready to vote on that? Okay, make the motion.
I move that we accept Jean Liddell as a member of the Inkster Historical Commission.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Any other nominations? Okay, we're moving on to previous business.
This item needs to be removed from the table. Consider our acquisition of one vacant parcel of land on Magnolia on the northeast corner of Magnolia and Emerson that is legally described as duly noted under the Wayne County Treasurer First Right of Refusal for $1,380.90, and consider approval of an offer to purchase the vacant parcel in the amount of $2,380.90 to Vesco Management.
Chair, make a motion to remove this from the table.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All. We haven't voted on the removal yet. It's been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. It passes, so it's off the table. We have another motion? Yeah. It's off the table.
Make a motion that we move forward with the sale of the property, Basco Corporate.
Board. It's been properly moved and supported. Discussion. Now, the judge wants to speak. It's traditionally, we don't let residents speak while we're conducting business during a regular meeting. We normally do it at orientation. You are the council. What do you want to do here? Because if other people have asked to do that, we've said no. So, what do you want to do?
At this juncture, she's a citizen, am I correct?
Yeah, she's always a citizen.
Yeah.
So, any discussion up here regarding the matter?
Well, Mr. Chair, at the beginning, we didn't let the audience speak when we went through orientation.
We did. Okay. You started there and look through the first readings of the other things.
Participation.
Any other discussion? Okay. All those just move on to the vote now. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Did you catch that? Let's redo that because I didn't hear everybody. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Roll call.
No, I didn't get to the nays, but
Councilman Chisholm?
Yay.
Mayor Pro Tem Williams?
Yay.
Councilwoman Howard?
Nay.
Councilwoman Mitchell?
Yes.
Councilman Oden?
Yes.
And Councilwoman Wiley?
What was the, I'm confused.
to approve the sale.
Oh,
We have four.
Okay. All right, the motion passes. We'll move on to first reading.
A first reading on the revision of the B-2 thoroughfare mixed-use district conditional rezoning of 2 parcels back to R1-A, one-family residential district. The parcels are located on the north side of Lehigh, just east of Inkster Road. A first reading of text amendment, TA 17-11 to the city zoning ordinance pertaining to provisions for site plan and special land use reviews per the recommendations of the Planning Commission.
Second reading.
A second reading and approval of text amendments TA 17-07 to the city zoning ordinance pertaining to provisions for medical marijuana facilities per the recommendations of the Planning Commission. And the background information is attached.
Do we have a motion?
Make a motion to open, but this is the first reading?
Just
The
to
second
approve-
reading and
second
approval.
reading.
It's approval.
To approve the amendments.
Make a motion to approve the amendments.
Board, been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
New business.
New business.
Consider approval, this is new business, consider approval of an offer to purchase 2202 Isabel, 4033 Harrison, 4321 Moore, in the total amount of $8,000 to Platinum Real Estate Holdings. Anthony Rhea is the applicant.
The move.
Support. It's been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Consider approval of an offer to purchase 3811 Hickory, 28645 Hazelwood, and 3129 Walnut, in the total amount of $6,000 to Platinum Realty Estate Holdings. Anthony Rhea is the applicant.
The move.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chair. I know Jim has bought several houses from us. How much time does he have to rehab these houses?
Ms. Fields, is 6 months? Yes. 6 months to start to get a C of O.
You know how many he has purchased so far to date?
No, sir, I don't have a number. There have been several properties, and he actually has a full crew that goes around rehabbing these properties because he is also one of the developers on the Inkster Neighborhood Stabilization Program. So he has properties under that program as well.
How many has he completed?
I don't know, but I'm going to defer to our realtor, Stephanie Taylor, and she may have a better idea because she has, myself and the planner have been inside a couple of the units, but I don't know any of those type of statistics. Ms. Taylor, would you mind coming to the mic?
Hello, Mayor and Council. I have to admit, I don't know the exact amount off the top of my head, and I don't want to give you the wrong answer, but we don't sell them to him fast enough. He usually turns them around within a month, even though he has 6 months. Some of the ones he just purchased just last week is already getting worked on. So if I can just tell you off the top of my head how many, I would love to, but he moves pretty fast.
I was going to ask what his track record is. What his track record is.
Oh, he immediately send people down to this building department and order the inspection and pull all the permits, usually a few days after he purchased them. So he moved pretty quick.
Any other questions on this? Okay, thank you, Steph.
Thank you.
Okay, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Consider authorization to purchase 2407 John Daly, which is legally described as duly noted, in the amount of $16,107.
So move. Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
Consider a resolution officially expressing Inkster's intent to participate in the Michigan Economic Development Corporation's Redevelopment Ready Communities Program.
So move, Mr. Chair.
Support. Been properly moved and supported. Discussion. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes.
And item E, which was added, consideration to appoint Mayor Nolan to the Central Sanitation Authority as the alternate, and Darren Carrington, City Treasurer, as his alternate.
Is that even allowed?
Yes, it is.
By proclamation of the mayor.
Right. So move.
Support.
Been properly moved and supported. Discussion.
How soon does he get started?
Tomorrow. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Motion passes. Okay. Public participation, Carolyn Smith.
That's Carolyn.
We got 5.
No.
6.
Good evening, Mayor, Council, our viewing audience, and all of our guests here today. I am going to be as brief as I possibly can, but I must admit that I've been touched by a lot of things that I've heard this evening, especially from Ms. Gibson. I had an opportunity to meet with her some time back when she first came into the city, and it really touches my heart to hear the things that have happened, because when we sat down and had a conversation about pathways, and you also have to excuse me, I'm a little under the weather today, but I know from just the things that I saw on the platform that she was going to present to our community, I was very excited about the things that were going to take place, and it's just very sad to hear that the school will not be opening as she would have liked for it to have been. I know that it would have been a great opportunity for our children in the community. I'm also touched by the things that I heard from Ms. Linton as well today as it relates to our youth. I have children of my own, and I'm blessed to have 2 grown men that are 30 and 21 and have never seen the sight of a jail. That's a blessing. And when you talk about the things that we hear today, I just think it's just so important for us to come together as a community. But I would like to say that I'm going to get to what I'm supposed to be talking about, but I just felt the need to speak on that. I would like to say that the Inkster Task Force, the City of Inkster, SOAR, and Starfish Family Services have joined together to host a free financial fitness event on Saturday, October the 17th. And I think that's an error, it's the 14th. October the 14th, at Booker T. Dozier Complex from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Banking and debt experts will be on site to engage our participants with credit repair, senior and veteran grants, even down to payment and closing cost assistance for those that qualify and are looking to purchase a home in the City of Inkster and surrounding communities. We have affordable homes to showcase during the event, and to attend, you must register at Eventbrite and look for the Financial Fitness Fair event. We're going to have raffles there, gift cards. We're going to be raffling off Samsung tablets. So we look forward to you all coming out at 9:30 to enjoy a great continental breakfast and just spread the word and just know that this is a free event. I also want to say that the Starfish University, the fall sessions have begun. And if you're looking to gain more knowledge with Excel, basic car maintenance, or even join the book club, go to our website and find out more about the programs that we offer that are for free. Please excuse me. Seems like the more I talk, the worse it gets. I also want to say that September the 30th, 2017 marks the end of our 3-year residential funding from the Michigan Department of Health and Human Services, which impacts our basic service centers, transitional living program, and respite care at the shelter. The shelter.
Ms. Smith,
sorry.
I'm sorry, your 3 minutes are up.
Okay, all right.
I'm sorry.
No problem. I completely understand. But if there's any more questions about anything, please feel free to see me, and I'll be more than happy to share the information with you. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Deborah Owens.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I just wanted to say I am really proud of the City of Inkster and this body. I rode the back way to the old City Hall or the library this past weekend, and I saw what that rehabilitation program to those houses are doing. A lot of the houses that I passed that were dilapidated, empty, looked terrible, there was stuff sitting out front, and the homes were being remodeled. So I am really proud to say that that program is working, and I want to give you, this body, credit for initiating that program, because it looks like we're on the way up. I want to let everybody know about the Come and Clean the Booker Dozier Recreation Complex. That's tomorrow from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And we're going to be there cleaning the recreation complex, because you know the kind of finances that we've been under right now, the lack of finances. And we're in need of people to come with their brooms and mops and buckets and cleaning solutions and gloves and cleaning cloths to come and help clean up our city. Because we haven't had the funds, we haven't been able to do it ourselves. But we need to take pride in our city and clean this, because our children have no schools. This is what they use for recreation. The seniors also use it for recreation, so we need to come and volunteer. We're also in need of refreshments like water, coffee, creamers, sugar, donuts, rolls, snacks, and things for the volunteers. Now, so far, we've gotten a donation of water from Representative Anderson, and we don't need any more water, but if you can donate, if you can donate something, please do so, and if you can donate your time, that's even more important. So thank you very much, and let's clean up our city. Thank you.
Thank you. Virginia Williams.
Good evening, Mayor, Council,
Good evening.
Treasurer. My name is Virginia Williams. I'm from the city of Romulus. I'm here to ask the residents in District 1. We have a millage that's on the ballot for the Romulus school districts. We really need the folks in District 1 to support the operating millage. What happened is our school superintendent and those that's in charge allowed that millage to expire last year. It's something that we were already paying. The operating millage helps to operate our schools. So without having that funding, they can't pay the teachers and other things that that funding covers. So we really need to have this millage on November the 7th to pass. The sinking fund doesn't expire until 2018. What I'm asking, and a lot of folks in Romulus, is that we push to get the operating millage passed November the 7th. I have documentation saying that Inkster residents will not be responsible to pay through their taxes for this particular millage until their debt is paid down, so they won't be affected. But because of the way the law was written, you can vote. So please come out and help us to get this passed, that our schools can be funded, because it seems like it's a pattern to go from one predominantly African American district to another to dismantle schools. So we need to get this millage passed November the 7th. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Officer Lebo.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
So I just wanted to apologize for my tardiness. I actually had the honor today of escorting 2 young men from Hicks Elementary in the 5th grade. They are Inkster residents to the Wayne Westland Board of Directors meeting, where they were chosen out of 400 other students to give the Pledge of Allegiance. It was very nice. It was very, very cute. Also, I would also like to announce, as usual, the next movie night. We are going to be watching Sing, Friday, September 29th at 8 p.m. There will be free popcorn, snow cones, and this time hot chocolate due to the changing weather. Also, Chief Riley has been so kindly allowed us to acquire some heaters to place around the parking lot to help us keep warm. With that being said, we are also able to extend the movie night into October as well. So those of you who were in attendance last month when I said we're going to be watching The Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, we're moving that to October so we can do the Halloween theme. So this month will be Sing. We are also going to be making bird feeders out of little paper towel tubes and whatnot. So please come and join us, 8 p.m., September 29th, watching Sing. Thank you.
Thank you. Opal Nolan.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, and to the citizens. This is just a quick announcement. The Inkster Community Foundation presents a wine and dine evening, and we're asking for your participation. This is going to be held Friday, October the 13th, 2017, from 7 to 11. And it will be at the Booker Dozier Center, 2025 Middlebelt Road, Inkster. The donation is $30, and this is for our scholarship. We have about 4 events a year, and we need your help in giving the scholarship money to our Inkster students. So I have tickets now, and if you've been to the recreational complex, you've seen the flyers, because we put them out about a week ago. So I hope you saw the flyer. If not, here are the tickets, and you can purchase it from me tonight or any time before the event. Thank you.
Thank you. Judge Sabrina Johnson.
Good evening, everyone. I am not here as a judge. I'm here as a third-generation resident of the city of Inkster with regard to property that is adjoining my property on Magnolia Street that I had requested consideration from this council to purchase. It came to my attention just shortly before the open public auction that the property that I had been watching for 3 years was removed by the city. I was later informed by the mayor that that was pursuant to a Michigan statute that allows local cities to have the first right of refusal for tax foreclosed property. However, that right is not the right to hold, it is the right to purchase. There has been no purchase of this land. It simply has been held long enough for the public auction to end, and then this council summarily approved giving it to Vesco Management. I did some research on Vesco Management. They've been a publicly owned company only since, a for-profit company Only since January of 2016, I could find no listing of other developments. The owner uses his personal home address as his business address. I have been asked to essentially accept that this developer is going to come in and build right next to me. I have no way of knowing if the buildings that he is going to raise up will be commensurate with the other homes in this area, thereby subjecting myself to a possible devaluation of my property. I am extremely disappointed that the law was not followed. Eric Sabree, the Wayne County Treasurer, issued a timeline for which cities could declare their intention. The deadline for that written proposal was July 21st. All payments on properties that were taken pursuant to this statute were to be made to the county by July 28th, in large measure so that the public auction could have a listing of properties that were unencumbered. So that when the list came out on August 18th, everyone who was interested would know they were looking at properties that they could actually buy. That didn't happen here. A property was just taken and held in violation of my due process rights, to the legal safeguards, and the protection for my ability to participate in an open public auction. I really think you need to ask yourself, why does this Vesco management want this property? My side of town is not unstable. That property has been open and vacant for 40 years. I know because I used to cross it to get to high school. There are no other vacancies on the street. Everyone who lives there has been there for decades. I'm the newest person to the community at only 3 years.
Ms. Johnson,
I know.
3 minutes are up.
I appreciate that. I think we made a poor decision. In our haste for change, we've ignored our residents.
Father Clifton.
I would like to yield my time to Carolyn Smith.
I don't think we yield anymore.
Oh. Yeah, they wouldn't let me. Oh.
That's right.
All right. Okay. Mr. Treasurer, have anything? Yeah.
At the podium like everybody else.
Doesn't matter.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, viewing audience, and to the audience here. I'm standing before you this evening to bring you some information about a situation that arose in the city of Inkster last Wednesday. Last Wednesday, I was notified by Wayne County of a SSO violation, which is a storm sewer overflow violation from the city of Inkster. What it was saying was we were dumping something into the Rouge River.
Hit the mic.
That we were dumping something in the Rouge River that we had no control over. Upon me being notified by Wayne County, I began to investigate, and I notified the mayor and the city treasurer, my immediate supervisor. Thursday, I received a phone call from the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality Control. Upon that call, I began further investigation to see, was this really an Inkster problem? So just to let you know, I was being proactive as I received these phone calls. On Friday, I received the email from MDEQ. I responded to that email, and I informed the mayor and my immediate supervisor. Upon responding to that, I was on site to do an investigation to see what was the problem, what was causing this overflow to the river. We have recently determined where this problem had occurred, and we're in the process of getting quotes and prices to get it fixed. It will be coming before this council body first meeting in October or sooner. I will have those prices this week. I need this body to understand, the mayor, the treasurer, and the chief administrative staff understand, when I come before you, it will be for you to vote to get this done. This is an emergency situation. We will have to correct this. And I'll entertain any questions at this time.
Can you just explain to him briefly? I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no, you go ahead, go ahead.
Explain to him, because a lot of folks, we are familiar with it, but
CSO, I mean the SSO is when we have a Clean Water Act.
And why don't you explain what SSO is?
SSO is storm water overflow, which means our sanitary gets into our storm water and it flows illegally to the river, which means that your laundry detergent, anything that is in your sanitary system is going to the river, which is a violation, Part 31 under the Michigan State Statute of Clean Water Act. So when that occurs, we're notified, we're put on notice, and then we have to respond. So I have been proactive in getting this done, and like I said, my engineers are involved. We have a contractor here that was doing a FEMA project for storm. He's putting numbers together for me now to get to the treasurer and the mayor this week so we can progress and get this done. And the state, we spoke to the state today, they're working with us in cooperation.
Where was the location, the violation located?
It's in the southeast district, southeast section of the city. Which is here.
Is it the CSO drain?
No, it's not a CSO drain.
It's a storm sewer.
It's a storm sewer. The storm sewer is where your rainwater and stuff goes, groundwater. Your sanitary is what you flush, to be polite about it.
Okay, but it seems to me that I understand you may not want to say specifically exactly what has happened. What, did a pipe break? Is our infrastructure?
No, it's not
or what?
It's not a pipe has broken. What has happened is we have an area in the city that there are about 4,000 houses and business on this line. Once that sanitary begins to overflow, it is flowing over to the storm system, which is overspilling into the river.
So there were no safeguards initially to prevent that type of thing, knowing that there were 4,000 houses on that line?
Councilman Wiley, our system is probably second oldest system in the country to Detroit. So these are problems that we have to deal with now that are arising before we were born.
Yeah, and Councilwoman Wiley, on that point, I mean, we're talking about an infrastructure that's been in place for quite some time. And couple, so you have a couple of things. One, you have, population that is there using it, the system begins aging. And so you can have situations where the infrastructure just can't handle, doesn't have enough capacity, or it could be a breakdown, could be a deterioration. We really just don't know the specifics of it. In this situation, the state became aware of the problem, and essentially they're just notifying us, and we have to take steps to correct it. But we really don't have a way of accurately predicting these things, just given the aging infrastructure, not only in this city but across the entire country.
This could happen someplace else.
Oh,
in
for
the
sure,
city?
it does.
Yes.
Yeah, it does.
One
I'm sorry.
other
I
question.
was saying it could happen somewhere, not only across the city but across the entire state.
One other question. You said you were looking at figures. Do we have a round figure for this type of correction?
No, I mean, until they've just
Not till I
started
get
looking
it.
at it,
Right.
until they can really get a,
as soon as we get the estimate, we're going to send it out to everybody on council, because it's going to be a big number. So we don't want you to have sticker shock and keel over at a meeting. So we're going to email you that estimate so you can see it. And
So I can keel over at home?
Correct.
So right now, we don't have a projected time we can get started with this to resolve the issue.
No, we got to see what that number is first.
we should have an estimate by the end of the week.
I should have an estimate by Friday. I'll sit down with the mayor and Mr. Carrington. We'll email that out to you. Yes, hopefully in the next 30 days, this will be fixed, because it is an emergency situation.
Are
We may
there
have to
any
call-
fines or anything associated with this through the state?
No, we will not be getting the fine.
All right, Ms. Jordan, we may have to call a special meeting next week to move on this too.
I also think it's probably relevant to point out that the Clean Water Act was probably passed at least 50 years after this infrastructure was designed, so the infrastructure really wasn't designed to comply with our current regulations.
Okay. Any other questions?
Yeah, you said that it's on the south side, over on this side. is there any other parts of the city that have the old infrastructure that could do the same thing later on down the line?
Right now, I know
That
of
that
any.
we need to be looking at now?
Right now, I know of any.
Okay, so the company, Tucker and Young, which now is Benicia, they didn't discover this at any time?
No, they
prior?
wouldn't have discovered this.
Okay, because when you said there was no cause of ours.
No, this is like Mr. Karen just said, due to age and wear and tear. And then the way our system was designed before we were born, it's not the way the rules and regulations go now.
Okay.
So
Now, the way that
our
system is
system is
designed,
older than, like,
was it designed just on one side of Inkster on the south side only?
I think to your question, Mr. Williams.
Because I'm trying to get to, if they're going to have a problem on the other side later.
We might.
Well, I mean.
No, sir, I'm not saying, what I'm saying is, this is a occurrence over here, which is the eastern outfalls, if you recall. Over
Okay.
here, we have a CSO basin on Middlebelt. We have a CSO basin on Inkster Road. We didn't fulfill the eastern outfalls because of financial reasons, that we could not complete that. So we will be taking care of that
Oh,
on
so
this
because
side.
of those outfalls that we didn't take care of, that's causing that problem?
Yes.
And once you go,
No, we're not going down the road of the outfalls because we don't have $22 million.
well, but I'm not going to ask about building another CSO basin. Is there any alternative to correcting that problem?
Yes, we're working on that right now to correct that problem in that area.
There's no alternative. And we have to correct it. We get a violation from the state.
Are you saying
we have to correct it?
No, besides building another CSO basin, how do we correct it without buying it, without
We're
building
not,
another basin?
but Mayor Pro Tem, understand, I'm not getting ready to build a CSO basin. I'm getting ready to correct
We're
that
going to get
problem.
money for that, okay?
I'm getting ready to correct that problem once I get the figures and information. I've already had the engineer out looking at it. I've already had the construction company come out and look at it. They're just putting the design and information together so I can bring it forth to the mayor.
But
And then,
now, my question is, that's not a short-term solution. Is this going to be a long-term solution?
the state doesn't allow you to do short-term solutions.
It's gonna be fixed.
It's going to be fixed.
Okay, we'll see.
Okay.
No,
I
it's
just
gonna be
don't
fixed,
understand
sir.
what happened. Did it
Trust.
break? Did it get stuck up?
So, well, I guess the next question is the state is it the whole bill on this, or is the state going to?
No, the bill's on us.
Well, we'll get more details on that, y'all. I mean, we'll have the engineer come in, the contractor, explain exactly what's going on. He was just trying to give you the
Ready to
heads
raise our
up. and let you know.
taxes.
Break.
Okay, Madam Clerk, yeah.
The City of Inkster residents will be having an election in District 1, Precinct 1, District 1, Precinct 2, District 3, Precinct 1, and District 3, Precinct 2. For this election only, District 3, 1, and 3, 2 will be voting at the same polling location. We combine polling precincts, so you will have your own separate ballot, but you will be at one location. And Mayor Pro Tem will speak, I'm sorry?
Temporary.
Yes, this is just a temporary for this election. We just combine polling locations. Thank you.
Okay. Council comments, Councilwoman Howard. Okay, Councilman Chisholm.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Just three things real quick. Just like Ms. Smith was speaking towards how heartfelt she felt, how she felt when Ms. Linton was speaking about the RISE initiative and the school to prison pipeline. I used to think that it was a scared straight program when I was in school before they called it school to prison pipeline. But when the DARE program was active and the police officers used to come to Blanchette Middle School and they would talk to us and they would tell us it was like 3 sections. A certain amount of us would make it, a certain amount of us would end up dead, and a certain amount of us would end up in prison. And once I turned 25 and kind of felt that I beat the stereotype and I looked around, I realized what section that I ended up in. And it was just, you know, it's a reality. So I support it, and I just want to rally the support of everybody else to do so. Number 2 is I was speaking with Jerome about grass cutting, Councilman Oden, 'cause there was a section in his district, and I've been talking with Ms. Fields. And one of the things I had wanted to just bring up, because I guess it was something old that we did, but we kind of got rid of that process at the time, was we had checked in the property in between like Captain J's and the liquor store. Middlebelt is owned by KFC, but they don't cut it, and the city cuts it. Now, in an effort to beautify the city, is there some type of way that we could either send them an invoice or draft an official letter letting them know that we've done this to beautify the city, but it's on you to upkeep your property and either turn it over to the city or sell it or do something with it so that we don't keep having Jerome and his department overextend themselves. And my last thing, I would like to announce the Inktown Pedal Push. Soon you will be able to get your pamphlets. They'll be at the clerk's office, Parks and Rec, here, City Council Chambers. And Inktown Pedal Push, a guide to our ride, sponsored by Councilman Stephen Chisholm, with assistance from Councilwoman Connie R. Mitchell, Inkster Parks and Recreation Department. And since the Planning Commission meeting is...
A swing.
Oh. Since the Planning Commission meeting was canceled, our first information meeting will be this Monday, September 25th, 2017 at 6 p.m. right here in Council Chambers, just to go over everything, answer any questions anybody might have, uncertainties and whatnot. And I'm projecting our first ride will be the 27th, which is Wednesday at 6 p.m. The gathering place will be Inkster Park, right at the bike trail. So we can start there, go to the end, and go from there.
All right.
Thank you.
Councilwoman Wiley.
I don't have anything.
Councilman Oden.
Yes, the District 2 Advisory Committee will be meeting on the 26th, that's next Tuesday. Everybody to come out, join in with us. I want to acknowledge Mr. Lewis for the job that he's done with the improvements at the recreation complex. I don't know how many people recognize, paid any attention to it, but looking really nice, and that's what I'm talking about when we talk about our city and goes for the businesses as well, maintain and deal with it. And finally, I'd like to say that the street improvements on Emerson, a lot of the citizens gotten a lot of complaints, not complaints, but compliments about the work that's going on with the pavement. So just want to let everybody know that. That's all I have.
Okay. Councilwoman Mitchell.
Yes, there will, as you may be aware, the segment of the Downtown Development Authority is working on a strategic plan. We have scheduled meetings for Wednesdays, but this Wednesday, October 20th, we will not be meeting because we are doing some research to develop a document that will go to the citizens of the city. So Samantha Garcia, if you would put that out, that there is no meeting of the of the strategic development committee this week, and we will give you information of when we will meet again soon. I would like to say that I'm excited by what I'm seeing in my neighborhood when it comes to rehabbing of homes. There have been 3 so far in my area, and they're looking very beautiful. And the workmen who are doing the work are moving real fast. And they're doing everything from the roof to the inside to the basement to the garage. It just looks wonderful. And I hope that we can keep that up and make that the whole city beautiful, like my neighborhood is really coming back. I have a number of announcements that I've been asked to make. First of all, the Inkster Task Force and the Inkster Firefighters Local 1577, you remember our annual walk-run, and that will be on October 28th. This year we're using the golf course. And we invite you to participate with us. It's a healthy way for all of us to do some things in the city of Inkster. You don't have to run, you can walk. So that is October 28th. There are registration packets available. You can go to www.hookandirons5k.com to get information. And there are some packets available also. We have a wonderful dance group of young women in our city. called Divine Dances of Inkster, and on October 4th, their fundraising is going to be at Buffalo Wild Wings in Dearborn from 11 in the morning to 1 a.m. the next day. These young ladies are very exceptional. The directors work very hard to groom them, and they do an excellent job. The UAW 1A Women's Council will have a breast cancer awareness conference on September 30th, 2017 from 10 to 2 at the Region 1A office on Telegraph Road in Taylor, Michigan. The purpose will be to honor men and women who have had relatives, friends, or loved ones affected by breast cancer. Inkster Goodfellas presents all-you-can-eat pancake breakfast. This will be Saturday, October 21st from 7 to 12. The $10 is the cost, and No Child Without a Christmas is always the purpose of their fundraiser. I think that's it. That's enough. That's it. Yeah.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem.
Oh, and there are flyers that I'll leave here.
Thank you. I have a continuation from the announcement from the clerk. District 1 has 3 different proposals, 2 from Romulus and 1 from the city of Taylor. We have called the county, got with our city attorney, to check into this to whether or not if we were exempt from them. Answer came back, yes, we are exempt, but each community, they have the right to go vote. They have the right to go vote, but since we have an enormous debt for the Inkster School District, we are held exempt from it. What that means is that they can vote, but they can't collect on this debt until after the debt is paid off. So it's going to take a lot of years for this debt to be paid off unless the state decides they want to write that off. So you can go vote. You exercise your right and go vote if you want to go vote. I understand that Romulus, they need this Operation Millage to, that support their teachers and the employees. And, we do it. We have students over there, but it's up to you on how you vote. I have a question about one of our ordinances. I don't have the number of it, but a citizen wants to know that if you want to get a CFO, now they would have to go, before the city goes through and do the inspection, they have to acquire a certified plumber and a certified electrician first, submit it to the city, and then the city will send out our inspectors to go inspect. That's like double dipping, so to speak.
That's not the procedure.
Is that the procedure? Okay, I just want to make sure. On October 24th, Citizens Who Care will be having a pancake breakfast. I'm sorry, we're having a chicken and waffle luncheon from 12 to 4. No, it's 12 to 3, actually. 12 to 3 is at the Booker Dozier Complex.
It's during the week.
That was 14th.
October?
You said
24th.
You said 24.
No, I'm sorry, October 14th. October 14th, that's a Saturday, from 12 to 3. It's for Coach for Kids. Every year they provide coach for all the children in housing projects or somewhere in the city of Inkster. So it's a Coach for Kids project. Tickets are $10. You can purchase tickets from any of the members, or you can call the clerk's office, or you can see me. And as usual, continue to support your local merchants by shopping Inkster. Thank you.
Okay, I'm going to keep it quick because kickoff happened 15 minutes ago. Detroit Lions playing on Monday Night Football. It only happens every once in a while. First, I want to point out we have a male model on the back. His name is Joel Jones. He's modeling the Pray for Inkster t-shirt, which is a campaign promoting positivity by Solomon Green. Who's Solomon Green? Wave your hand. Anybody want a t-shirt, see Solomon Green? You have some other shirts too?
Actually, starting up with these. Actually, it's a clothing line that I came up with and had an idea for 4 cities because I was raised here. 29 years, and I love this city. I hate to see the different things that go down with it. This is my first time actually into one of these. And I'm glad, Joel actually invited me to come and check this out because it was neat to actually hear the different things that are going on with the city.
Come to the podium real quick. We'll keep it short, though. We're about to get out of here.
I won't be long with it. But we need to pray for our city. You know, I grew up in church as well, and I know that the word says that if my people which are called by my name will humble themselves and pray and seek my face and turn from their wicked ways, then I shall hear from heaven. I will forgive their sin, and then I will heal their land. Inkster needs to be healed.
Man.
Our land can't get healed unless we do the requirements that come before that. Seek his face and turn from our ways. Now, I'm not saying that everybody has evil ways, but I mean, we all fell short of the glory of God, regardlessly. So that's the issue that we have. But God is a perfect God, and he can heal our land. So the first thing I believe that we should do is pray for our city, and let's pray for Inkster.
Okay.
You know, there's 48141 at the bottom of every single shirt, regardlessly. I'm always open for orders, and you know, I also have a website as well set up for it. I have flyers as well if you guys want to.
What's your website?
Inksteroriginal.com.
Okay. You got it. All right. Well, thank you. We're going to pub that, and you're welcome to come back to another council meeting. You want to show us different shirts and bring your stuff so we can buy it.
Well, I have some flyers here if I can.
Okay. Pass them out to all whoever wants them. I want one. Okay. Lunch with the mayor this Thursday. Don't forget y'all to come out. And just want to do a shout out to Ola Reed Williams, better known as Miss Shelby's mother, better known as Medea. Her birthday was yesterday. We were at her party. Turned 100 years old. That's a beautiful thing. And we'll see you all in 2 weeks. Go Lions.
Make a motion to adjournment.
Support.
Probably move support. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Forget the opposers.
Hey, man, what happened with the Wolverines?
The who?
Said go Lions. You just